Kaiden Guhle scores his first NHL goal on an absolute rocket of a one-timer. Samuel Montembeault is a brick wall in net, and even Brendan Gallagher got in on the fun with 2 goals in this game. Me and Jesse are going to break everything down for you. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to this game recap version of Habs Digest. And before we get into the recap, just a very quick reminder, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. We're just over 50 subscribers away, so if you're watching this content and you love this daily Habs content, and you're one of the 93% that's not subscribed, hit that button, bring us to that 1,000 milestone. We'd love to have you guys along with us. Alright, Jesse, that game was super fun. Maybe not right at the start, as Montreal couldn't quite convert on their back-to-back power plays really early in the game, but everything was redeemed when Kaiden Guhle got a beautiful feed from David Savard and just rifled home, roofed a one-time slap shot from the right hash mark, and I could not be more excited. As you guys know, he is one of my favorite players in all the NHL, and I am hyped.
And what a great way to do it with the first goal, just to go bar down. And what a great sell from Savard. And, just so nice that he's kind of setting him up for that first NHL goal. From what I take it, David Savard has been taking Kaiden Guhle under his wing since his time in Montreal. So just really nice to see them get together for that first one.
Yeah, man, they've been a pretty solid pairing. And I mean, it's just been so fun this season to see almost a resurgence of Savard. Last season, it was really questionable. He had some questionable moments. He wasn't playing his best hockey, but so far this season, he's been so good defensively. And like you said in one of our previous videos, these little head fakes, just these little silky moves that he's doing on the blue line that we haven't really seen in a while. But anyway, the story though is Kaiden Guhle. That shot was a snipe. It was a missile. And you could tell he knew right away as soon as it left his stick. He was basically already celebrating before he even got the puck. That was a rocket, and I think that gave Montreal just a ton of momentum. Even though Buffalo scored a little later, you could just tell as soon as Guhle scored, Montreal came back and attacked with force.
Yeah, absolutely. He's making a strong case to get some time on the power play, which I've been advocating for recently. Just noticing him in this game is sometimes in the offensive zone, you have to double take on him because he looks like a forward in the offensive zone. Just the way he moves, the way he's skating, he's not afraid to get in deep. And I've noticed that from a couple of our defensemen so far this year, that we're not afraid to get in deep, whether it's Harris, whether it's Jacky, whether it's Guhle. So just that freedom that the Martin St. Louis coaching system is giving them is really just bearing fruit, because he was in deep. He didn't even have that much of an angle there, and he's just absolutely sniping it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's not... You don't see defensemen doing that very often. And again, like you mentioned as well, it goes back to Martin St. Louis and allowing the players to do what they feel, not being constrained to a certain system, just to do what they feel is right. And Guhle saw an opportunity to pinch down a little bit and paid dividends, put Montreal up 2-1. But it was tied when he scored that goal, the big momentum changer, put Montreal up a goal. But we would not have even been in that position if it wasn't for Samuel Montembeault in net tonight. Yes, Guhle is the big story. First NHL goal for this incredible Montreal defenseman who is right now right near the top of the Calder race, if you ask me. But Montembeault tonight, whenever Jake Allen's not playing, you're kind of like, okay, well, Montreal's going to try their best to win this one. Montembeault was okay, we'll see. But tonight he was a stalwart. Like, he had something like 40 saves tonight, 41, 42 saves. It might even have been more. And it wasn't like he was just getting shelled from the blue line all game. He made some incredible athletic saves in tight, especially late, reaching out with the glove, diving to knock the puck off the goal line. And his defense didn't really step up for him tonight. While Guhle had a great offensive game, Montreal allowed well over 40 shots. Of course, that Dylan Cousins tying goal late in the third came on Buffalo's 42nd shot of the game. But even without Montreal's D blocking shots, like they have done so far this season, Montembeault stood tall, and he really rose to the occasion.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we're going to need to get the Dikembe animation. No. Of this play, because as you were saying, just like Savard Montembeault is really winning me over so far with his play early on this year. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I'm shocked, really. I mean, we saw him have some good stretches with Montreal and in his tenure here so far. But, I mean, tonight, it just felt like he was a man on a mission. it felt like I don't know, he turned into, we're playing the Sabres. It's like he summoned the spirit of Dominic Hasek in that building, and he just took it to the ice. He was sprawling, doing everything he could to keep the puck out, and he really kept Montreal into this game. Again, Cousins got that goal late, but that wasn't really Monty's fault. It was a nice shot. But, behind Monty there, Montreal still needed some offense to get going. And who better to come out and have a multi-goal game than Brendan Gallagher, the heart and soul of Le Canadien. He's due, right? He's been due for a goal. And that first goal he had, I'm coining the term. Someone else has definitely said this before. I'm not saying I'm the first one to say it, but they're patented Gallagher goals, because like there's two ways you can score a Gallagher goal: just fire it at the net, have it bounce off 15 things and go in, or just be hacking at the goalie until it goes in. Tonight, that first one, it hit Comrie, who also had a great game, by the way. Eric Comrie has really impressed me this season. Right off Comrie, and then some people like to say Owen Power scored a goal tonight for Buffalo, right off his leg and into the net. You feel bad for him. But Gallagher has just been scrappy. He's been putting the puck on net. He's been in the right places. What did you think of his play tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we need, just right in front of the net, scoring those classic goals just like that. And I think himself, that Gallagher had a great game, but also that I know with this game that we jumbled up the lines a little bit. So with the new line mates of Anderson and then Dvorak, they were actually looking pretty good. And in the third, they were kind of buzzing a little bit. And it was actually the work from Dvorak, who has been a little bit quiet this year, that did actually lead to that first goal of him just really getting in deep, winning that puck battle, which really led to it. So I'm really happy to see some good chemistry there, because you can definitely see that with Gallagher and Anderson. Of course, two players that just go to the net hard. They're going to complement each other. And right now, when we're struggling to maybe get a couple more goals in there, I think it's just the right philosophy for us for right now.
Yeah, they looked great out there tonight. Of course, later in the game, they connected again. I almost felt bad for Eric Comrie on that final goal that put Montreal up in the lead for good. He made an outstanding sprawling save right before it came back out, and Anderson wired it home. I mean, I think Gallagher finally got credit for that goal, if I'm not mistaken. I know the announcers, Brian and Sergio, were talking about they weren't sure. They couldn't see. But eventually, let's say it's Gallagher. 2 goals tonight, amazing. But Anderson fired that shot, and it was, again, a great forecheck from that line, just leading to that goal. But, I do feel like Montreal could have had a bigger lead tonight. And I want to get a bit into, again, our power play struggles, because it was evident tonight for every single game this season. Every game we've looked bad on the 5-on-4 power play, and we're switching things up every game too. It's not like it's just the same group. We saw the first power play tonight with 5 forwards. It was Drouin, Hoffman, Suzuki, Caulfield, and Monahan, I believe, on that first power play. And let's just say it didn't go great. And not only did we not score, we gave up multiple shorthanded rushes with those guys like Hoffman at the point. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, I'm glad we're switching up the power play, but is there one thing in particular that you're seeing that you think Montreal can improve on the power play? I know we spoke about it in the past, but I'm curious after tonight's change-ups if you have any new info.
Well, I think it's more of a personnel issue than anything else. I think Drouin did have a good game tonight. I saw a couple of great shifts where you really see him skating, you see him playing with effort. Has he earned the opportunity to be on our first line power play at this point? No, I don't believe that is the case. Just a little bit too much jitters in the offensive zone. He's maybe kind of overthinking it a little bit. I believe once, his offensive production does come from other places, that he will deserve his time there and will make better use of it. But as I've made it known, I would like to see a couple switch ups. Whether it being even Gallagher in front of the net on the power play. I think that just needs to be our main focus. Slavkovsky, as you mentioned as well. I saw recently with an interview with Martin St. Louis where he was talking about his philosophy for the power play. And what he wants to see is maybe 2-3 passes max, and then the strike on the net. And I really think that that's a good philosophy. I know that we're trying to look for the perfect play all the time, but I think really just getting somebody in front of the net, most important things, make a couple good passes, and then just get a strike, regroup from there.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we even saw tonight, not even necessarily just on the power play, a few times where I wish some guys would have just shot the puck as opposed to looking for a pass. There was a couple 2-on-1 rushes. namely when I believe it was Jake Evans, and I forget, it might have been Dadonov coming down the other wing, but Evans waited and could have had a shot, but he went for the pass, and Dahlin broke it up. One guy I thought that was putting the puck on net tonight well was Caulfield. But you're right. I think in the power play, we really just need to start firing it on net. And if we had a big body or even a scrappy body like Brendan Gallagher, it'd be paying dividends right away. We'd be able to get a few goals. I mean, and we can even score from the point a little bit, especially if we have a big screen in front. We saw Jack-Eye get a goal just like that against Dallas. I know some people are calling for Jack-Eye in the power play. I don't know if I buy into that quite yet, but I can see the reasoning. I love him, but, we'll see. But I also think you're right on the Drouin front. I thought he had a pretty good game tonight. There was a great 2-on-1 with him and Monahan, and they stopped it. I think Monahan hit the post on that or something. But man, like, Drouin impressed me. But in the offensive zone, I actually mentioned this a few videos ago after he made that beautiful pass to Caulfield in the Pittsburgh game for the late tying goal. Sometimes he has flashes of brilliance where he sees the play 5 steps ahead of everyone else, and he can just make the pass to an area or just make a dangle that no one else even thinks of. But a lot of the time it feels like he doesn't want to mess up, and he just kind of overthinks, exactly like you said, and maybe passes to an area with no one, or a couple times I felt like he missed the net multiple times. So while he's improving, I still think there's a little ways to go. But overall, I was happy with him. I was happy with pretty much everyone tonight. I can't really say there was anyone I didn't really like. What I will say is, I don't know about you, but I don't want to see Hoffman on the top line again tonight. I don't think he had a bad game, necessarily. But I don't really see the fit. I'd rather just see Monahan right back up there. I mean, I liked Monahan with Doc. Sure, he can fill in for faceoffs because Kirby is just not good at them. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Hoffman, Suzuki, Caulfield first line tonight?
Yeah, it kind of made me cringe at first sight, to be honest, because once again, I just don't really feel like he's deserved that. If he's shown that and he's kind of potting a couple early in the season, yeah, I kind of missed the Hoffman from the Ottawa days, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem like he's that player, even really with the Panthers for right now. So he's going to break out at some point. I mean, Dvorak's going to break out. They get goals, they get points, but just being a little bit underwhelming so far. So yeah, I mean, I do like Monahan there. Like you said, I do like him with Doc as well, which is why I know I've said this before, but when Slafkovsky comes back, I either want to see him on a 1 or 2 line, on the first or the second line. So that's either playing on that first line, which I understand that they're taking their time, because once they get him on that first line, which is the full intention of this full organization, is that they want him to stay there. So I get that they're being patient, because much like Caulfield is, they played him on lower lines, but they know that once he got there with Suzuki, there was a little bit of back and forth from there, but it wasn't too long after where he just completely solidified his spot. He showed, I deserve to be here. He's proven that to be exactly right. And I think Slafkovsky in time will do that exactly as well. So I do like the combination right now of Kirby with Doc, even though Monahan's is being great all over the line right now. He's just basically a chameleon on this team. He can just fit in anywhere, playing great, coming close to scoring again tonight, as we mentioned. So yeah, I'd really like to see, if it's not Slafkovsky on that first line, I'd like to see him on the second. And then again, it's maybe he's my fan favorite here, but if not Slafkovsky on that first line, Gallagher, because you need that skill, but you also need that toughness as well. You need that balance. So I believe that Gallagher would really balance out the skill that we see from both Suzuki and Caulfield, but also that net front presence.
It wouldn't surprise me if we saw some version of all these lines we're talking about before the end of the season. Clearly, this is an experiment season. While Montreal is winning, we're 500 right now. We're 3-3. I still think there's a ton of room to experiment. Again, as we've mentioned before, just see how these guys fit together. We're gonna have these guys playing together for 5+ years in the future, so we want to make sure they're comfortable. And I agree. Slafkovsky has just as much of a case to play on the first line as Hoffman does. I'm starting to think that Hoffman has some kind of blackmail on Marty St. Louis with the amount of ice time he's getting. Like, maybe he was like threatening to leak St. Louis' quad routine at the gym, his legs day routine. I don't know. I mean, like, there's something going on.
What's that?
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, again, the last 2 games he's been okay, but like not first line okay. I think like third line, and you stick him on the second power play, which is fine. That's kind of what we got him for, right? Like just a power play guy who can't really play defense, who doesn't do much else. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see some more switch ups. And to talk about Monahan quickly too, Arpon Basu during the game, he tweeted something that I thought was very, very accurate. He said, Sean Monahan might not always get you to the offensive zone, but when he gets the puck in the offensive zone, good things tend to happen. I think that's a very good description of how Monahan has played for Montreal so far. When he has the puck in the offensive zone, it's almost magical. It's so smooth. You can tell that this man used to be a 30-goal scorer. He has an eye for the game like very few players do. And he's just a good creator. I mean, we saw him a few times this season either score or set up for clutch goals. Other than that, like one little thing I wanted to talk on too. Late in the game, I don't know if you caught this. Well, I'm sure you did actually when we were watching it. But late in the game, Montreal's up one. Anderson or Gallagher or Montreal had just scored, and Buffalo is down a goal, and they desperately need a goal here, obviously, to tie the game and send it to overtime. And they're looking for a chance to pull Eric Comrie. But for about a minute straight, Montreal was absolutely relentless on the forecheck, being super physical with Buffalo, wouldn't even let him get out of their own zone, couldn't get past center, and when the puck finally did cross center for the first time, it was Kovacevic hustling back to get an icing call against Buffalo. I believe Comrie was only able to come out of the net, and Buffalo was trying since about the 2-minute mark. He was only able to come out of the net with about 35 seconds left. So I thought that just spoke to the effort in this team, especially after the Guhle goal, and then once again after the Anderson goal. After we score, we're just packed with energy, especially all these young guys, right? They're so hyped, they're so amped, the adrenaline's going. Did you see the same thing I did when we score and when we're rolling? I feel like we can be, one of the more intense offensive teams in the league.
Yeah, we're actually leading. Just recently, we were leading the NHL in odd man rushes. And I saw the tons of examples, even though we're outshot in this game, is that we're doing such a good job of supporting the puck carriers through the neutral zone. How many times did you see that during this game, Josh, where let's say we got one player in the neutral zone just passing to a player, another Canadiens player with speed coming through that neutral zone, inevitably coming into that offensive zone? We're doing such a good job of playing away from the puck. We are seeing the strategy of Martin St. Louis coming up. And that's how we're able to draw so many penalties as well. So we're showing that we're an offensive team, where before under the Marc Bergevin era, we really defined ourselves as a defensive team in many ways. And that was our system and trapping and everything else. But now we're starting to get a reputation around the NHL as an offensive team, as a skilled team. And what surprise is it that this is exactly the vision that Kent Hughes had for this team, to be a fast, to be a skilled team. So I'm really excited. I'm seeing every game how more and more this plan is coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's like Kent could see the future, but not just that. He's done a good job of building the team he wants to see, and it's coming together super well. This team is, I mean, in my opinion, one of the more fun teams to watch in the NHL. Every game seems fast. That first period was just like, it was fast. It was like a barn burner for a little while there. It was just like, and even in the second period, I felt like there was maybe 5 total whistles. Like, it was just fun to watch, constant action. Montreal's fast. We love to break out of our own zone quickly. Little chip passes. We're going for partial breaks constantly. It's fun. I mean, we need to score goals because we know our defense isn't near the top of the league. We're maybe not the worst in the league. We're not great, but we're trying our best. But we need to score goals to win games. Maybe not tonight when Montembeault has a game like he did. But in general, we need to be an offensive team. That's what this team is built to do. Other than that, Jesse, I don't think I have much else. I did want to touch on this though. I don't know if you noticed, the arena was a little emptier tonight than it usually is for a good chunk of the game. I don't know if you saw the reason for that, but I believe there was a tractor trailer crash. 2 trucks ran into each other on one of the main Buffalo highways on the way to the arena. I believe they caught fire. I'm not sure if everyone's okay, but I saw people in the game thread saying they couldn't make to the game because the highways were completely blocked. So it's not the Buffalo fans didn't show up. There was an accident. Hope everyone's okay. Just want to acknowledge that. But other than that, do you have anything else to touch on before we end off this awesome game recap?
Yeah, no, just first road game of the year victory. So nice to see that coming up, and we'll keep it going with our next game.
All right, well, we'll catch up for the post-game recap after our game in St. Louis this coming Saturday, the 29th. That was a fun game reaction. It was a fun game to watch. Jesse, as always, it's been a pleasure doing this with you. Pleasure talking to you. And for all you fans watching, don't forget to like, subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. We'd really appreciate it if you could help us with that goal. I'm Josh Gosse for Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you on Saturday night.